Welcome, everybody. Stephanie Brown here from Intelligent Construction Opportunities. Welcome to all of you that have joined in tonight from LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. Tonight, we hope to have a fairly robust conversation, indeed, about how education can inform the trades and the deficits through technology. There's various pieces to the puzzle. We're going to start off tonight by having a bit of a banter between Patrick and Steve, and I'll introduce the guys right now. So Patrick Mimeault is the managing director of TradeSpecifix. It is an app that you're going to see throughout the show that does a number of things, both practically and from a learning perspective. My good friend Steve Turner from Bring Back the Trades, the founder. I work very closely with Steve. He's done tremendous things, and we've got so many pots on the stove right now, cooking up some really great things in the next 3 to 6 months that we might share toward the end. And certainly, last but not least, Irfan Majur, who is the UX designer for TradeSpecifix, helping to put the pieces of the puzzle together in a practical way so that the trades can really use an application and keep absorbing the gaps, closing the gaps as far as technology as it applies to the trades. So welcome, gentlemen, one and all. Thank you for taking the time. So I guess we want to start the conversation off. One thing. I am Stephanie Brown from Intelligent Construction Opportunities. I always forget myself. I evaluate software for my living, Intelligent Construction Opportunities. I help both construction and manufacturing to do that. And every project, as you're going to see the gentleman start to talk about, is unique and unto itself because nobody buys technology generally off the shelf and just plugs it and plays it. It's a very, very rare thing. So that's me. I come from a learning and development background myself, and I certainly understand some of the breaks in communication between adopting an application and actually wanting to use it day in and day out and getting it to work within your workflow, whatever it is you might do for a living. So with that said, welcome again, Patrick and Steve. And I want Steve to tell a little bit about what he does with Turner Upholstery, and then Patrick to talk a little bit about what it is that you do in construction that brought you to thinking about making an app, which is now where you are developing it with different prompts. We'll get to the trade education and the I'll call it the professional services and the app itself. So Steve, can you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and your projects?
Yes, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you for having me. Yes, so I own Turner's Upholstery in Rye, New Hampshire. A lot of people think when you say upholstery, it's your furniture, your dining room table, your sofa. We actually do upholstery in cars, boats, planes, restaurants, office buildings, dental chairs, pretty much upholstery like that. We don't do any furniture whatsoever. When I first started, when I was 19 years old, I did everything because I needed to build my business. But now that I've built my business, I pretty much focus on the cars and the boats and the planes. So what we do is a lot of our stuff is handmade in our shop. We have sewing machines that we take. Say we take an interior out of a car, we pattern it out, we lay it out with new material, we sew it by hand, and we install it. We do convertible tops, new cars, old cars. If you think of an old Model T, we do that. If you think of a 2022 Porsche convertible, we do that. So boats, we do boat canvas, we do boat seats, boat carpets, pretty much everything as far as upholstery. I started my company, like I said, when I was 19 years old. I got a guy that's been with me 17 years from California, celebrating my 34th year in business this December. Like I said, again, I started this when I was 19 years old, but the reason why I started to bring back the trades was because I got Ryan in 2015, but in 2009, I was growing faster than we could get the job done. Like every other tradesperson out there, I put ads on Indeed, newspapers, everywhere. Literally nobody, I shouldn't say that. People responded to the ads that said, I'm a chef, I work at this. They had no upholstery whatsoever. We've talked about this. My trade takes about 10 years to learn all the aspects, because in my business we do welding, we do electrical, we don't do real, we do plumbing if an RV comes in, but not that much, but we touch it all, construction, everything. So you really can't work in my shop if you only do one thing, because I don't have enough of that to keep one person going. So you have to be diversified. So the reason why I started this, like I said, was I couldn't get anybody to, do my job. So I started bringing back the trades in 2017 to start educating the public about what I do, what the trades do, educate the teachers, the parents. We've learned that the parents are actually the door that needs to be open to the kids. I thought that it was the kids when I started this, but it's not. It's the parents. And I don't like to say this, but it's a lot of the counselors in the schools as well. I don't like to point fingers, but there is a lot of schools that don't really help the students.
Yeah, we need to show your cars off more, Steve, so people can actually see the magic, like the absolute magic that comes out of your garage. Your garage is like yours. And I just want to give a shout out to Adam Hoots. Thanks for jumping on tonight, Adam. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate the support always. It matters. It matters that we all support each other. Adam works pretty diligently with the Skilled Trades Alliance, and there's a whole bunch of us that are in this to try and figure out how to make this work. And with that being said, I want to spin it over to Patrick. And Patrick, if you could give us a little bit of your background and talk about your trades as well. And then, something I thought is you were talking about Ryan, who works with you. I wanted Steve sort of understand, okay, if you had to train somebody today, like ideally, what would that resume look like? So Patrick, take it away. You do your thing first.
All right. Well, thanks, Stephanie. Hi, everybody. My name is Patrick Mimeault. I'm the managing director for TradeSpecifix, and TradeSpecifix was created to help at first my construction company. I'm a siding contractor. I do exteriors of buildings in Vancouver, BC, and a little bit in Alberta, and a little bit on Western Canada. And same thing is that it seems that years ago we had a lot of young individuals or people coming to job sites wanting to get into trades. And we found that it's not happening anymore. We're having a hard time to grow medium-sized businesses or to grow and take more jobs on, because there's a lack of skilled personnel, but also personnel that we can train. And we found that creating a platform, I wanted a platform that helped me manage on site and educated our crews and try to educate our crews more and tie in the workers actually doing the work to the actual management. So try to team them up together, try to collaborate a little bit more in our company. And we found that many other businesses had the same need and the same need to find more workers. And we eventually found that by collaboration and just small education sectors, like small things to educate either newcomers or young individuals to go and carry in the field that they want to do. And if we give them some small training, we can get them into a trade where they'll actually learn that trade from them. And then if we give them tools to support this and support after, we've seen a lot of good things happening in the market. So that's what TradeSpecifix is doing, is we're trying to take young individuals or newcomers to Canada or new people that wants to change trades. We guide them into gaining the education of the first modules to get into a trade. After that, we blend them into a company that is users on our platform where they need workers. We tie them in together, and then we give them the support with our application to help them manage. They can spend more time on site, and through the platform, we give them education segments so they can learn more about their tasks, about their safety responsibilities, about what jobs coming at hand. And in return, we're seeing also parents now that feel more comfortable when the technology is there to educate their kids about the safety responsibility and what is it to be in construction. Well, they don't see that image of rugged construction workers anymore, always in dangers at the site. And we're finding now that we're helping our users to fill and be able to take on more jobs, and we're more productive and we're increasing profit. So we decided to keep going in that sector and try to go more into the education at first. So educate you on using your platform, educate you on how you can help us out on the platform, and then in return you can now help each other in collaboration. Instead of fighting each other's price, we can work together and fill the needs in the market. And we're doing some very successful projects right now with individuals or companies, different companies that collaborate together to do larger projects.
Patrick,
And
give us some examples of what those projects are and airfront.
yeah, we've got one in Alberta and High Prairie where we used a roofing company from Calgary. We're using people from Edmonton to do the siding, and some of these gentlemen doing the siding are coming from Saskatchewan. The suppliers is in Saskatchewan. There's suppliers in BC and Alberta. So by collaborating all together, we're able to meet the general contractor's needs for schedule, for time, for budget, and it helps the trade as well to have the proper tools on site, like the proper shop drawings, the information needed to do the task at hand. And I can project manage this project right from Vancouver through the platform, where the workers, if they need information or the company need information, I can provide this on the platform very easily, and everybody's got access. And then we see who's on site, we can tell what they're doing, and if they need education, we take that time to educate the workers on their responsibilities or the task, or what they're going to do next, or the steps, the proper work change order steps, all the processes that we monitor from this side. And in return, it helped the developer. Now, developers have reached out to us. We do work for the developer on doing budgetary takeoff. We work with architectural firms now to look at the design and maximize utilization rates, decreasing the budget. So we're finding that collaboration now is working really, really well.
That's good. That's great. It's really great, Patrick. So, Steve, getting back to your particular manual, I'll say, because a lot of what you do is manual. If you had to train somebody today, what would that education look like from a manual perspective? And I want to give a shout out to Don just because he popped in to say hello to Patrick. Thanks for joining us tonight, Don.
So what I usually do is I had a kid that I trained him last year for a whole year. And the funny thing about it is he worked for me for a whole year. And then I taught him how to weld. And he came to me like 3 days later and he says, I got some good news and some bad news. I'm like, what's the bad news? I really want to become a welder. I said, what's the good news? There isn't any. So he left me to become a welder, which, you know, that's fine by me because he found his passion. He's now a welder at the shipyard. But with me, what I do with them is, and it's hard for, you know, this is the thing that bring back the trades is fighting. I'm a small business owner. I have got one guy. So what I have to do with a young individual, whether it's a boy or girl, is I have to be there with them 8 hours a day. Because I have to show them, I have to be there because we're working with very expensive cars. We can't just say, hey, we'll pull some screws out of that door panel. So what I'll start doing is teaching them how to sew. And believe it or not, it's sewing a straight line for 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day. So they get it right. Because to me, if you can't get it right, you can't move on to the next step. So in my business, you have to have a lot of patience. Like, really, I almost describe it as painting a picture. You're putting all different colors together and you're building something. Like, we're all building construction, same thing. You're building something, a masterpiece when you're done. But in my job, it's so many different skills. It's sewing the sewing machine, it's using the spray gun, it's sewing lines. So I don't know if that really answers your question, Stephanie, but I spend a lot of time talking to them, showing them, giving them encouragement when they sew the line. Our sewing machines are run by our feet. So like in the old days, remember the pedal that the Singer sewing machine had? You had to go back
Yeah.
Well, our sewing machine is run by the foot. So the more you push down on the pedal, the faster the needle goes. And our sewing machines are very touchy. You can go from doot, 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 to like really fast. So it is they're all touchy. Believe it or not, the faster you use your sewing machine when you're sewing, the more accurate you are. It doesn't sound right, but when you become good, the faster it goes through, the faster it goes straight. If you're going slow, you're moving your hands, that line's going to go all over the place. So it's hard to teach them because they're afraid of the needle going through their finger, which almost every upholstery person has had the needle go through their finger. It hurts because you have to hold the material. So there's a lot of hands-on learning. There's a lot of watching, listening, learning. So I say it's a hard skill because you really have to sit there. You don't get that instant gratification in upholstery. You just don't. It takes years to do.
And I think, Stephanie,
Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
Stephanie, when we come into play where we taught and when we're teaching the people that are wanting to come in construction is like you, Steve. If I send you someone that knows how to use a measuring tape and a line and make a straight line and make proper measurements and just the basic of your trade, I think that's where we're lacking a little bit. A lot of young individuals will come, they don't know how to use a measuring tape. We got to cut them a piece of 2x10 by 1 foot long and show them what's an inch on a foot long piece of wood. So if we can show these basics and then they come to work for you, they already have that knowledge of basics. Because what you're teaching them after to go fast with your machine or slow, that's your actual trade. That's going to be learned on site, just like construction. If you know how to use a tool very good, very efficiently, or at least if you know how it functions and what the dangers are of it, that's what we teach on our platform. Because then after that, you're going to have to practice on site to cut with a skill saw straight and use your fingers instead of a guide or whatever technique you use. That's experience that you're
But the
getting.
question is, how do you start to bring the technology factors together with the training? So it's not you're teaching something manually. There's sewing, there's straight lines, there's talking, there's all those skills that have nothing to do with a computer. The question is how. This is for you, Eric, because you're the one that's doing the UX design for TradeSpecifix. So how, given conversation, even it could be automotive upholstery that you end up designing for. How do you, as a UX designer, walk back the realities of having to learn how to custom upholster a convertible for a Porsche?
It's a good question. Thanks for putting me on the spot on that one.
If you can answer, you get a job.
Yeah, no, it's the $1 million question. I can give you an example. Yesterday in the Reddit subreddit of Vancouver, an HR professional posted a question, basically a complaint that there's no workers to hire. There's a shortage of labor, and this extends across all industries. And when it comes to construction, how do you even get young people interested in it these days? How do you put that in their top 10 to enter the industry? So that's the problem we've been trying to solve here at TradeSpecifix with Trade Pros as well. When it comes to designing the platform and mainly the app that the worker will be using, we've made it as seamless as possible. If they can use Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, then they can use this. It's no different. You tap, you log in, it picks you up. You collaborate with your workers. You see everybody on site. In terms of learning the skills, well, it's all about collaboration. If you have somebody on the site that can teach you, great. We have platforms and education programs on the platform that can teach you as well. But it has to get to the root of it that this person wants to learn. I can't force anybody to learn, but I can at the very least give them a push and trigger something in them that will make them want to go down this path further and want to learn. And from there, just get their juice going and wanting to learn further.
So we
Trigger.
Yeah, but what we try to do is that our platform is when you arrive on site in the morning and you select your job site, you select your task, and then we deliver information of that task. And that's where we're trying to deliver information that it's either about how to do the job or safety responsibility associated to that task, So the more education on the platform that you're getting, they're just reminders. I teach part-time at Brighton College, and I found that teaching was the best thing to teach me because it keeps me up to date to management processes. It keeps me up to date to what I've learned, years ago. It refreshes my memory on what I should be doing. If I haven't done a certain task for a couple months and I go back to that task that morning and I'm delivered a safety meeting, safety responsibility about that task, and then I can go to files, and I can go to the photos and get all the information to refresh my memory. That's what technology does. That's the side that we're trying to implement to all the small businesses. Like for us, we're going after the workers doing the work, and we're bridging that gap from the superintendents to the actual workers on site. We're saying that, hey, if you need information, the superintendent can simply place it, or the project manager on the platform, and once you arrive in the morning and you deploy that task, you have that information to you. So we're educating you that way, and we're keeping you engaged by rewarding you if you do a good job. And that's where we're at now in the platform. We're actually launching a new version now. I'm just waiting for the okay for the app stores to release the other version. And we had to change our dashboard where everything is on one screen. Everything is available right there in your face. You've got that picture available right there. You've got that drawing available, and you've got the chat. You can communicate with your manager and your phone, and you have all that information. So the employers can deploy any information. I do sometime in construction. I'm sure there's project managers or superintendent out there. Coffee cups.
Buddy would be one. Buddy is. I want to give it.
And Don as well is a great superintendent I had the honor to work with before. And a lot of things was about cleaning up, just simple things as trades cleaning up and paper cups sitting everywhere. Well, now you can deploy a message directly on the platform that everybody would get in the morning, and that technology, and be educated on why and what to do and what is important and why you need to do it. And then everybody uses their phone nowadays. So by using their phone, what we're trying to do at TradeSpecifix is to have you excited to open your phone before you show up to work to find out your task requirements and what's expected of you. And we've discovered some platforms out there that might help us out, because it's reinforcement, and we've worked on our reinforcement platform where we're showing you that you're doing a good job and guiding you, and we're feeling our users are getting more exciting now to see the new version and what's coming up next.
And what kind of incentives are you building in? What are you and Erfan working on that, like I think of Steve, I mean, he's a little more on the, I don't know if you could honestly replace the sewing and there'd be any kind of an app, but I'm even wondering, would there be any kind of technology, Steve, if you could wave a wand that would have anything to do with what you're doing?
I've thought about this a long time, and I mean, it could do my job behind the desk and stuff like that, because I mean, everything, I don't have databases, like I've showed you my spreadsheets and stuff like that. But as far as doing the job, I don't like to say never, because that's not a good word.
But I'll ask you this, okay? Just a quick, like all businesses, we created TradeSpecifix because it's specific to all trades. How often do you do safety meetings with your employees?
Safety meetings with my employee. I only have one employee.
Okay, but do you do safety meeting with them, or try to remember last time that you're discussing safety or with clients? So
safety's every day, because we put blankets around the cars. We make sure nothing's around. We make sure a lot of cars don't have safety.
Good. And how do you reward that worker that works for you? I thought you had 15, 20 workers. That would have helped me out, but
no.
How do you reward that worker of yours?
With a big paycheck every week, and then I give him a raise every single year, and then I give him extra vacations, and when it's hot, he goes home early.
So we find lately with our studies and all the studies we've done is that people are looking for more than this nowadays. Is that Stephanie hit it on the nose a few weeks ago when she talked to me about hope and happiness at work. And we found, even with our workers, that once in a while somebody had told me, said, well, just show up with a gift certificate or something when they don't expect it the most. And that was the greatest things. The workers appreciated it. They were nice. They stay engaged. So that's what we're trying to do now. And I'll use the example of my wife. They've got that at her work, and my wife is the last one to use technology. She's very efficient at her job and things like that. But once once you have that reward system, now she's engaged like you wouldn't believe. I've never seen her engage with her company like this, and she works for a great company. And Don says basic fundamental is key and having hands-on mentoring from experienced tradespeople using the technology. Basic fundamentals is key, having hands-on mentoring from experienced tradespeople using the technology. I think that's correct. That's right on the nose, is that we have to use the technology to our benefits. And if we can reward and engage with our workers, and we can just keep everybody engaged and happy at work and happy.
Well, we are at a critical crossroads, though, I think, particularly in construction, and certainly not all of the trades, because I would tend to. I mean, I don't know, what a day in day out obviously is of Turner Upholstery, but it seems pretty cut and dry to me that it wouldn't need an app. I mean, I've got 2 construction sites outside my window, and I watch them vigilantly, and I don't see any of these guys looking at a laptop or an iPad or a phone during the day.
That's not their job. That's not their job during the day. Like, I don't want my guys, like my siding installers during the day on the scaffolding to use their phone. What I want is that they're well prepared before they start their day. They're well informed of their task and responsibilities so they can conduct that day without any hiccups. They can work now. Yeah, exactly. So the meetings are conducted every morning. Well, I did the same thing. We did a study on one site. We had 15 workers there. Every morning we tried to force them to go to the trailer to sign in. And then every week you have to do a toolbox meeting. That costed that toolbox meeting 15 man hours to conduct a toolbox meeting once a week. And then after that, you've got the safety meetings in the morning. So upon arrival at the site, first of all, we make sure we've got a developer just the other day says, wouldn't it be nice if I know if my drywaller showed up on site? So we fixed that on our platform. Now you know your drywallers arrived on site. You know the task that they're working at hand, and you know they were delivered their safety responsibility for that task or any information pertinent to that responsibility, to that task. After that, they're just doing their work. I don't plan on putting them on the phone or using it. But hey, I get to a closet, I see a pipe, I don't know what that is. I can simply take a picture of it. I can send a message to my manager, and I can find out right there. I can deliver that toolbox meeting on a high rise with everybody in their place where they're working. I don't have to round up everybody. Like us, it was just a 6-story building.
Right.
Round them all up on Tuesday after the site meeting at 11:30 and get everybody to do their meeting. So we found that giving that technology is when it's important, in the morning mostly, and at the end of the day, that's when. Services companies love it because the technician knows where he's going the next day, the day after, what task does he have to do, what address he's got to be there, what schedule he's got to be on. So technology for service companies, like think about plumbers that are going to do service at 5 different places the next day, or electricians, or those type of companies, they use technology daily. Project managers, all the high-level project management software are being used, like Procore, Buildertrend. Everybody knows those, but it stubs the buck at the superintendent. There's some safety programs that are used, like Don is using a very solid safety program, but that's all they do is safety. So we're trying to blend in all that information in one technology so they can educate themselves, they can be rewarded and feel good about themselves and engage with their coworkers or different companies if you're a sub-trades and you want to collaborate. So that's what we do, and we offer small little modules that you can learn instead of having to go to school or doing a year or two. Well, you can learn a small modules that'll help you in your career.
So if I can just stop you for a second, Patrick, so just so the audience understands the trajectory, it's really about you starting to soften up somebody's interest in the trades by offering them mini trainings, and then the next step in is to get them aligned with some sort of a project that you're aware that's going on. Is that correct?
So I want to take let's use young individual, for example. I want to take the young individual out of high school. They don't know what they want to do, or maybe they don't know which field to go in. And I want them to learn a quick modules on something they're interested in. And I want to team them into one of our users, one of our trades that needs personnel. So that helps them. And at the same time, give them the tools with TradeSpecifix on how to be managed during the day, how to manage their task, and they learn even more about their task and their trades, all the way to becoming a sub-trade themselves and giving them the resources to be able to become a business person. So we wanted the full meal deal. We want to try to help you to learn a new career, and then after that to learn the business side of things. I got people that work for me for 10, 12, 14 years. They still don't know what 100 square feet is, but they'll put siding up like you wouldn't believe. So those little modules are important eventually for your growth. And that's what we found that maybe we were lacking before in our company. So we said, well, let's try to educate more.
Was a part of the incentives, Erfan? Is it I mean, are you talking more of, I'll call them gift cards? What when you talk about incentives, I mean, to me, we've had offline discussions about it's really about trying to build the path in. And as I said to you, Patrick, it's really in that hope is a little dramatic, but basically showing people, to your point about you could have a business of your own someday. We're going to show you what a contractor would need to run a successful business. Is that the kind of incentive, or is it something aligned or aside from that?
You're trying to look for a diamond in the rough, and a lot of these, if how many 21-year-olds or so will we find that at that age can think of being an entrepreneur and running their own business? They can think of it, but the path of making it happen, they really have to want it. And like Steve said, it takes 10 years to become a master at these sort of things. So it's, if they've got that drive within them, or if we can somehow light that fire for them, then that's great. And we can find some incentive there to make it work for them. But for me, it's just been going back. Pardon?
Yeah, go ahead, sir. And I just wanted to talk about the token. What we wanted to do with the token is that for us, we have a token, and let's take an example with a supplier that we've been talking to. Is that supplier sells a great product, but often the installers don't know how to install it as part of the assembly they're dealing with, which creates in return some manufacturing issues, some installation issues, some issues which clients think it's the warranty issues. It's not. It's because the installer didn't have enough knowledge to install that product onto the assembly he was doing. So we just lived that in Vegas. So that what we talked to that supplier is that we're going to take his product and we're going to break it down in 50 small modules that will teach the installer not only about installing a plank straight on the wall and what it needs to be done with how many nails per plank, but how to install it in different type of assemblies and what to recognize when they're doing so. And by giving you a token, well, maybe at 5 token, we're still, Erfan is still developing this, but at 5 token, then you become maybe an apprentice. And at 10 tokens, now you're an installer of that product. And at 15, 20 token, now you're a professional. So that's why we say by small amount of training every time. We've been fighting for the siding industry to become an occupational status. If everybody knows, construction siding is not a trade; it's just a trade part of the framing of the carpenters program, right? So with the Siding Association of Alberta, we went through a panel, and there was all red seal in front of us carpenters. And lady, I remember, says, "Well, and everybody can put a plank straight on the walls with a few nails." I said, okay, well then tell me on this type of wall, this type of assembly, what membrane will you use? What type of insulation will you use? What type of attachment? What's the fasteners? What's this? What's that? They didn't know, because it's becoming a trade. So if we can break every trade there is in the world in small components, and to guide the person to go forward and not wait, not do 2 years of university to come out to see that you don't like that trade. My sister did 2 programs in school.
Patrick, if I could just interrupt for a second. I mean, he's talking about needing feedback from the workers. I do think that you can't always create applications from the top down.
Change the slide, go to the next slide. You'll see that what we're trying to engage there. We've got a couple comments and below the trade specifics, then the next page over.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll hear about, we'll learn through the platform about the workers engagement. So just below there, I don't think you can see it.
Oh, I just
So
went
next
past it there.
so,
There it is right there.
yeah, right there. So that's where we're trying to, that Irfan came up with too, is that on our platform, if the worker has any comments, positive or negative or anything, we want to know about it. We want to get it back. We want to reward you if you're doing a good job of engagement. And that's where, if you're sending a message to your manager about, something, then we're gonna reward you. We're gonna say, keep up the good work this week. You've been logging in. You've been, logging in and doing your responsibilities properly. You've done your safety meetings every morning, and you've done this. You're doing a good job. If not, it's not a negative. Not a negative reinforcement. It's an education. Do you know why you need to sign this every day? It's because it's going to teach you about your responsibilities and make sure that you work safe every day.
Yes, but I also think that there's a point where you have to treat people with maturity, meaning that your incentives are not just. I mean, this is good, but I think you have to keep stepping further and further into the evolution of someone's career. You have to be able to always have that option to help their growth, whether they end up staying with you or they don't.
That's correct. That's right. And that's what we did. And that worker I was referring earlier went on his own, started his own business. And if you go to the final slide, well, that's where we have our digital project management office. And we're doing jobs everywhere now. Hawaii, Indianapolis, New York. We just got a lot of work from New York, Toronto, British Columbia, Alberta, because that's where now we're helping you. We don't want you to be able to having to build a big team by hiring a project manager, an estimator, an architect, or everything at the same time. So we give you that support where we do shop drawings for you. We can do estimation for you. The son of a good supplier of mine just went into the trade, and same thing. We can help him out now. He's using us to do estimates for him, so then he can stay on the tools and learn more about the trades. We can give him some pointers. He joined the platform, so he's there. We're there for his support, and he's doing quite well. He's already got some great project, and he's growing his business. If he comes to us with what is the schedule of value or how do I bill every month, well, we're going to teach him. We're going to show him the steps to properly invoice every month and do that requirement properly. So we educate, we guide you, we give you the tools, and we give you support. So I thought that we had a good combination to help out.
And this is a good thing for Steve. And like scholarship winners, like you and I are constantly talking about, how do you track the scholarship winners and those that are going through a program, and what is their trajectory? I think you have to make not only do the technology, you have to fit in with the workflows, and I'm talking about really, the mundane workflows any more than if you're hanging duct or you're hanging, you're siding or whatever your trade is. That technology has to only be there in so much as it's a tool like anything else. And I think the more that designers like Irfan and Patrick, when you're designing an app, it's to do that. And then there's that overarching idea of, but this is also how we're going to help you grow out your career, so that this notion of the trades is not, oh my God, my kid's going to go to a job site every day, dirty, sweaty, and he's going to make, I don't know, $25 an hour for the rest of his life. It's all a part of it. What do you have to say, Steve?
Well, I was going to say, like we discussed on the pre-one, I think as a small business owner, the most important part of this app is being able how to estimate a job the right way. Like I told you before, if I knew then what I know now as far as how to estimate a job, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd probably be retired already. But it's, you know, and it's a hard thing when you're first getting into business. Everybody's afraid to, you know, charge what they're worth because there's competition and everything else. But, you know, if everybody's using the app and everybody's, you know, I always tell, you know, it's easy for me to say that now that I'm established, but I tell young people, get what you're worth. You got to start off getting what you're worth, because if you don't, it takes forever to get up there, you know. So I think from what I get out of the app, the best part I see is how to estimate a job the right way and, you know, make a profit at the end. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Well, you said to me, you changed your business model when you told your customers that, you know, you'll keep doing the job and they can check in, but if there's more hours to be had, you're just not going to arbitrarily, and this happens in construction all the time,
Yep.
because it's a developer and, you know, owners rep on down, and estimators that come up with these, they're not pie in the sky numbers by any means. They're based on previous information and projects, but
So I just figured out, not to cut you off, but I figured out how the app would actually help me.
go for it.
Okay, so we don't do change orders. Customer comes in, I have to verbally do it and then sit down and do an email, get them to okay it, because even though we get per hour, if they add materials to it, they have to know what the materials are going to be, because say it's, you know, he's gone from leather on the seats and vinyl on the doors, now he wants all leather. One hide of leather could be $900, just one. It could be $15,000, whatever it is. So he needs to know what that price is. So if the app would track all that, it would make it easy for me to do it versus sitting down trying to figure it out. So that's where the app would actually help.
So, you know, Steve, you've got many apps that'll do work change order. You know what we would do for you is that while you're working on the car, the client can physically see, can look at the application, can tell that you're actually working on his car right now, see a picture of the car before the day and at the end of the day of your progress.
Yeah.
And if you have anything to communicate with him, you can communicate directly to him on the platform. And in return, he can reward you. He can say a simple, kind word to you to say, great job, you're doing great. Thank you for working on my car, which will make you feel like $1 million without.
Is that what they do, Steve?
What?
Is that what they do normally?
Well, see, so what I have to do is I take pictures of every process every day. So what I do at the end of the day, or some customers will be really like they're waiting for a baby. So can you send me a couple of pictures now? And then an hour later, where are you at now? So I have to constantly do that all day long. So like I said, my job is to just keep all the customers, like I said, when the cars come in here, it's a child to them. I mean, I've got like I said, the 56 T-Bird that's in here, he's been working on it for 25 years. I mean, this is a long process. It's a kid. So they want to see everything. So that's when you say, you know, they'd be able to see all that. I do all that, but it just takes time.
That's right. So on your phone, you can do it all from your phone. That's what we tried to do. Just like the superintendent that's got a meeting at the office is going to the site and can simply look on its dashboard and see that it's got 23 trades on site, the task at hand of what they're doing, the responsibilities and the safety all done. And then this way he can see pictures of what's going on. And if he's got any questions produced to him, send it directly to the superintendent. And if he's got to make sure that an employee or a worker or a trade is well trained, well, then you can have the assurance that they're well trained, because Don was saying this here on the message, that they need the assurance that the trades are qualified to do the work, proof of training, and improved quality control for each subcontractors. Well, by doing so, that's what we do on the platform. You can have your tickets on the platform. You can have every information about yourself on your profile. You're doing the work, you're taking pictures, and that becomes a great way for superintendent and project managers to actually monitor and to double check the work that is being done at site. I do it all the time. I look on the dashboard, I take the pictures of the guys, what they download from a different city. I don't have to drive to site. I see what's there. I can catch mistakes. We have that great collaboration with the workers, and that's where now I seen a shift, and that's what it would do for you, Steve, is that worker in the morning, even if you're not there and you're on your run, could take a picture of what he's starting, what they're doing, and you can look at your dashboard and say that he's working on a certain car, he's working on the right seat, not the left one, but the right one, you know, and then it would engage. You can send him a message, you can ask for a different picture, and your client can be logged into that platform where he sees everything going on live as well. So, you know, you keep everything in one place.
What I like about your app, though, let's be honest, and we often get into these conversations, but I think we broad brush. Most of the trades, like most business, is made up of SMBs, right? It is not the enterprise. What I like a lot about TradeSpecifix is that it's got flexibility to deal with shops the size of Steve's. And so Steve, you know, and we bring back the trades and we get more, you know, ability to source perhaps, you know, other employees. Your app stands to help that guy who's got 1 or 2 employees and refine, you know, some of the practices. The other thing I was thinking about, but I could be, you know, off my rocker here, I was thinking about even sourcing materials, you know, suppliers and stuff. But that may be something that after all the time, it's not a problem.
Yeah, we do, because we're all about collaboration. So that's where we collaborate all together to finding the best thing for your work or for our clients or for our users. So for workers, we had just a gentleman, Sebastian, newcomer to Canada, speak mostly Spanish, had all the degrees, the permits to work in the country, everything is good. Can't find work. He's having a hard time with his English skills. Maybe he's self-conscious. Like, I didn't speak English when I came to British Columbia. So then we had a user, Home Service Plus, looking for workers, and he speaks very well Spanish. We were able to blend him in together. He's got a great worker. The worker's got a great place to work, and they're happy. And that company is helping us big time. They're using our application. They're giving us feedback. We're changing things for them. So we're staying close, and we're finding that if one of my clients ever need a good landscaping company to do paving or to do anything with the exteriors, we can provide that. We can provide, and if ever it becomes a project where it's big, where they need support, we can help with drafting of shop drawings. We can help with estimation. We've got a strong team of collaborators, users on the platform that can help us out. So
can we get Irfan to just walk us through just a little bit of the UX, the interface here, and why it is that you laid it out the way you did, Irfan?
Sure. This was basically the easiest dashboard design that we could come up with. The worker, or the manager in this case, they log in on the desktop, on their laptop here, and now they have a full view of the project they've selected, who's on site, who's supposed to be on site but isn't on site. They can easily see the photos that have been uploaded, make sure everybody's done their safety meetings, everybody is keeping track of their hours. If somebody's left the job site, the map that's at the very top there, it will show them that they're no longer on the site. And you have a calendar right there on the right-hand side with all of your appointments and meetings. On your left-hand navigation there, you can create new safety meetings, add workers. There's a host of things that we're also going to be adding onto there. So for the manager or owner logging in, this gives them a full view of everything going on that project. For the worker that's using the app, they also get a full view of everything going on in it as well. They log into the project. They can see their tasks right away, what they need to get done, who else is on site. One of the benefits of this is, as well as we know workers will sometimes forget their phone. So another worker can log in another worker onto the job site. They can't stop the timer, but they can log a worker in. You can also chat with your workers. So sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I thought someone was saying something. If you're on the 3rd floor of a site and somebody's on the 10th and you need something, you can easily message them through the app. Basically, it's as simple as it can possibly be, and it really encourages collaboration amongst everybody that's a manager and all the workers as well.
See, this new screen on the mobile app that you're showing there, it's actually, I don't know if it's approved, but we're going back and forth today with Apple and iOS on the new version. And you can see before we had to go to details like other applications, fish out, and And we've learned from another live stream with you and our board of advisors with you, Stephanie, and Christian Pirzolo. It's like, if it's more than 4 buttons, nobody uses it. So on the dashboard, you see workers, the files, the photos, and the notes. So everything is there for the worker. By pressing on it, the information loads just underneath it, so you can have it right on your dashboard. You can see your co-workers who's there. You can communicate through messaging. You can call them. You can do everything on this front platform. And the notes and the photos, your manager gets notified, looks at it. I'm happy with the change they've made. I authorize it right there on the platform, and it keeps them going.
What happens when anybody objects to the so-called tracking? I mean, with the
So there's no tracking. So that's the thing that people. So on our platform, there's no tracking. Is a bad word. Bad word. Even a union in Quebec this year had a big hard time with a time punch company. And what we found with our technology, and I don't know how many technology have found this system, but we don't track. We don't know where you're going outside. So when you cross that fence in, I record you coming in and I record you leaving. So if the high-rise catches on fire, I'll know if you left site, but I don't know where you are at the mall or at the tavern or wherever. I don't track you. I don't have that capability. And if you look at the dashboard, you see here on the laptop, and the workers also have that capability. It says GPS. It's transparent. All the data that we're recording on you, which is the entry and the egress of that worker, that's it. That's all we have. And we don't have more details than this. We just want to make sure it was a system to, we had workers, they just don't, at the end of the day, they just want to go home.
It's good.
They forget to log off. So when payroll comes and you have to transfer these hours to your QuickBooks or your payroll accounting, and it shows 24 hours in one day, the project managers, where you have on the manager's side where you approve the hours of the worker, you can simply refer to that and see that the workers arrived at 8 and left at 4:30. So you can assume that it's 8 hours. You change his hours to 8 hours. The worker gets notified, gets to approve the 8 hours, then everything is okay. So what I wanted from that system is that I wanted to know when you were on site, because while you're on my site, you're under my responsibility. And once you leave the site, we don't have that capability. So there's no tracking. It's a ping system. And ping system, it's nasty out there. There's many time punch companies. The way it works is that when you turn your app on, it pings your position. When you turn your app off, it pings your position. It pings where you turn on the application. For us, we ping the job sites, whether you force your application shut or not. So I know if you went on site or not. That's the only thing we do. So if you go to the stores after, or anywhere you go, as long as you're not on that job site, we don't know where you are. And that was important for Canadian laws and for privacy laws. And it's all transparent. So
the guys used to push back all the time because they felt that they were being tracked right to the John or wherever. And I mean, obviously nobody
wants. Yeah, your phone knows way more than whatever we all do, but your phone knows where you are when you turn on the application, but we don't record that data. So that's why we made it transparent for the worker to simply press on GPS. You'll see what we record. It sees exactly what the employer sees, the manager sees, everybody sees the same information. It is totally transparent. And we put that in our condition. When you sign up to the app, we explain it. And that's important to know. We're not a tracking company. We don't track people.
Well, I want to kind of end it there. I think it's a place that I'm glad that Steve actually could, not necessarily for TradeSpecifix, because I'm going to be blunt with you guys and the audience. This is not to sell your app. This is to encourage the industry at all to just understand that applications are being built with the worker in mind, and that we are getting deeper and deeper into trying to make these applications a worthwhile outing for everybody. So the GC has the data he wants. So to Patrick's many examples, you have the photos to course correct when you need to right away. Obviously, guys, projects are doing this now with digital twinning, with drones and so on, and in massive projects. But again, I get back to the SME. I think this is terrific because you're allowing little gaps in the smaller and smaller margins in small businesses to perhaps be rectified through good practices through an application.
Yeah. In construction, it's going to bridge the gap between the GCs and the project manager and the projects team to the actual worker by showing that technology to the workers doing the work, and by implanting those technologies, we're going to be able to communicate way better with our clients, which is the general contractor, the developer, or the architect and the projects team. So there's a big disconnect, I feel, in the industry. And if we can just tie it in together by technology and speak the same lingo, so to speak, and have the same support and deliver projects on time and on budget and have enough people in collaboration to get the projects done, well, we're all benefiting from it.
I agree. And on that little segue, I just want to swing it back to Steve. I put a little something up to sort of give a shout out for Bring Back the Trades. Steve, if you want to talk a little bit about your scholarships and a little bit about what you're cooking up in the next three months or so.
Yeah, and I also want to make sure it's Steve at bringbackthetrades.com.
Yes, sir. All right.
Gotcha.
You did.
Yeah, so basically, all of our scholarships, unfortunately, right now, we're going to work on that down the road, or only in the U.S. right now, but that's something we're thinking about going into different countries, which we'd love to do. But our scholarships are available in any state in the United States. The only two things you have to be doing is, so right now the 2022 calendar is done. We just gave our last one in June. We'll give another one out at the end of September. So it goes from the end of September all the way to the end of June, once a month, $1,000 a month. We're hoping this year that we'll up that. We're working on that now to maybe give out more scholarships than we're giving out, and more higher amounts as well. You can be in any trade. It's not specific. You can be in any trade, and all you have to do is go through.
People have the kind of trade you've given out to so far. I mean,
yeah, well, actually, you're probably better at that because you got all the studies that I do. But yeah, I mean, basically, we've given out to culinary, hairdressing, welding, construction, aviation mechanic, landscaping, hygienist. Oh God, I said culinary. A lot of welding. We've given out a lot of welding. And another thing, Bring Back the Trades has really been trying to do, which is, it is successful because we saw it happen. We've been trying to get the younger females back into the trades. And last year, actually 2021, we had more females apply for our scholarships than males. So we're definitely out there. How you apply for our scholarships is go to bringbackthetrades.org. There's two ways to do it. You can do an essay. If an essay scares you, you can do a video right on your phone and send it to my email at steve@bringbackthetrades.com that way. And it's pretty easy.
Moving to the future, Steve, agreed we're going to start doing more video, yeah?
Yes, I would love, to be honest with you. I prefer a video over an essay. I really would. It's easier to see the person, get the feel for the person, and it's easier than reading 300 or 400 of them a month.
And just for the audience, Steve and I have another live stream coming up August the 2nd, where he and I are going to dig deeper into what all is going on with the trades. Yep. So with that, I want to swing the conversation back over to Patrick and Arfan, and thank you both for peeling apart what TradeSpecifix is doing and giving people an idea of how we're really going to try and build an education component into the trade, so that there's not only just a gift card element, but actually carving out a way for that young tradesperson or tradeswoman to be able to know, I might be able to have a business of my own and I'll actually be able to run it profitably.
Yeah, everybody's welcome at TradeSpecifix, so you can always go to tradespecific.com, reach out to us, and let's collaborate. Steve, it'd be a good collaboration together to bring that scholarship to Canada. So anytime you're ready, we can collaborate. For that, we can help you out.
We are working on that severely. Yep.
Good.
That'll happen, I promise you.
Yeah. And Irfan, any last words?
No, thanks for hosting us, Stephanie. Thanks for everybody that joined. And yeah, we're just looking for that secret sauce that's going to create these entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs in the industry that can grow with us and expand the construction trades throughout North America. So we're well on our way, and this platform will definitely get us there.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody, and thanks to the audience. Again, thank you, Adam Hoots. Shout out to you in South Carolina for being such an avid supporter of bringing back the trades and jumping in on these kinds of events as you hold your own. I see you made some announcements of your own. You've got some good in-person events happening down in your neck of the woods. Don, I want to give a shout out to you for jumping on and obviously being a good support of Patrick's and all that he's doing. And Buddy, can't leave Buddy off because Buddy, to me, he's the mentor. Buddy's been at the game for quite a while, and if I had my brothers, he'd be.
And to sum that one up, that is like so important.
Yep.
I mean, I go to these shows, and I won't take long, but everything in our show is very, very positive. But every once in a while, we'll have, somebody just come up and say, these young kids don't want to learn and this and that. And I'm like, with that attitude on a job site, you're never going to be successful. You got to turn that attitude around, and you got to be positive. You can't have a negative attitude. Not all kids are like that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, I've had some, stories with Buddy, some really good stories about some guys that, give him a knock on the shoulder way afterward.
And the one thing as a mentor you have to realize is it took me 34 years to get where I am, not one day.
That's exactly right. It's like anything else. I mean, not to give myself up, but I used to do stand-up comedy, and when I was doing it, I was like, I wanted to be famous tomorrow. And one of my friends was like, get over yourself. And in hindsight, it's like I believe Malcolm Gladwell. The 10,000 hours or whatever it is, the tipping point, and how long does it take anybody to get to Carnegie Hall? You just don't. You may be a virtuoso and be able to have an aptitude for an instrument. You've got to put the time in. Just all of us. It doesn't matter what you want to be a great practitioner of.
Yep.
You have to put the time in. So anyway, with that, I'm going to call this a wrap. And again, thank you guys for getting into this. And I hope this isn't the last of our conversations. And we'll look forward to seeing you here at Intelligent Construction Opportunities, the tech before the tech. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.